Hey, Babe Winkelman here to offer a special hello and congratulations to my friends at MidWest Outdoors for celebrating their 50th anniversary. I'm proud to be featured on the cover of the January issue, so I hope you'll pick up a copy, read about my personal path and how I got started in the outdoor business. Now, as my little birthday present, here's a look back at a segment I did on my show years ago. I feel pattern fishing meshes perfectly with MidWest Outdoors' motto, helping you enjoy the outdoors. I mean, let's face it, we all have a lot more fun catching fish. Enjoy.
So what exactly is pattern fishing, and how can it help anglers become more successful? If you think about fishing being like a giant jigsaw puzzle, the concept of patterns may become much more clear. Before the puzzle can be understood, many pieces must be considered and fit to see the picture clearly. Finding a pattern is exactly the same, only we're dealing with the many variables of finding and catching fish. That process gets started with the right knowledge of the 7 locational factors, and then you go hunting. Not all of the fish of any given species will be doing the same things at the same times. For that matter, there will be several patterns existing. Just remember the goal, asking yourself the right questions, and putting the answers together to find the best opportunity going. The subject of tools always plays into both finding and catching fish. Directly or indirectly, tools are anything that can help you find and catch fish. Electronics, lake maps, boats, and electric trolling motors are some of the tools that help you find fish. But beyond that type of equipment are more obvious fish catching tools, such as rods, reels, line, lures, terminal tackle, or various kinds of live bait. In each of these areas, anglers have many choices to make because appropriate tools vary greatly from one type of fishing to the next and one type species to the next. Remember, tools can be anything that enables you to catch fish. Now we've come to the part of patterns too many anglers overlook, or should I say don't consider enough. Did you know that it's possible to own all the right gear but still catch very few fish? Why is that? Well, I say it's because people either don't know about or forget the importance of technique. Technique refers specifically to how tools can be utilized for the purpose of catching fish. We're looking to discover the best way of many a particular piece of equipment can be used, and that, my friend, is done by learning about the fish's mood. Lures are a perfect example of the need for experimentation with technique. Beyond the obvious of getting the bait to the right depth, you have to deal with speed, size, color, action, vibration, texture, and scent. There may be dozens of ways a particular tool can be utilized. Good fishermen learn all the presentation tricks. They realize what is used, we went after it, isn't always as important as how they use it. Take boat control techniques such as trolling, drifting, back trolling. Each one requires a very specific method in order to be effective. The same is true of casting. A few techniques include a straight retrieve, stop and go, hopping, or dead sticking. Variations of these must be fine-tuned in terms of speed and depth according to the lure type being used. Technique separates skill from blind luck. Success is achieved by continually asking questions while experimenting. What can I do to present a perfect opportunity to these fish? Are there any little changes I can make to refine the pattern even further once I've already caught a few? And that's how we can learn to never settle for the second best pattern, by always searching for something better. Catching 5 walleyes off a rocky shoal might make a person feel pretty darn proud, unless they were to discover that they could have caught 10 bigger ones by only slightly revising their technique. In the case of spring crappie in shallow weedy bays, you need to find their location first by considering the 7 locational factors we discussed last week. In most situations, a boat is needed to get us there. You wouldn't have to use a Minn Kota for quietly sneaking into casting range, but if all the fish are spooked before you get there, you'd probably wish you had one. Once my boat is in position, an anchor becomes worth its weight in gold. Any 5.5 to 7 foot ultralight or light action rod would suffice, but length should be determined by the weight of the bait and casting distance required. In this case, a shorter rod is preferable for precision casting, especially since the weight of a casting bobber enhances casting distance. As for technique, I'm casting with a fairly heavy casting bobber set at a depth that allows a 1/32 ounce jig tipped with a minnow to ride just above the emergent weeds. Being careful to be quiet, and hoping to catch crappies that are only yards away, I'm casting past the fish so the splash of the bobber doesn't spook them, and then I simply, slowly retrieve 4 or 5 feet at a time, stop, and wait for about a count of 10, and then move it again. The crappies are inhaling the jig mostly during the pause. Consistent success in any type of fishing depends on learning the answers to many questions. As a beginning angler, it's difficult to put pieces of a big puzzle together, but over time it becomes second nature. The more presentation patterns you learn, the more you can use them over and over in similar situations with very little thought.
From an outsider's perspective, you'll look like a magician who pulls off what others consider an impossible trick. And basically, that's why I feel it's so important to keep teaching anglers about pattern fishing. There's really no magic in it. Catching fish at will only looks like a trick if you don't know how it can be done. And now you know.